Fake photos are everywhere nowadays on the internet.
With new software and apps, it is now easier to fool people.
Today, let's take a look at 4 famous paranormal photos. Many of you will probably recognize them, and at one point, were thought to be genuine, but later found to be hoaxes.
In the 1950s, the Cooper family of Texas had just bought an old house.
On the first night after moving in, the father decided to take a photo of the family in their dining room. The mother, grandma, and 2 children were happy and smiling.
But when the photo was developed, they were horrified by the image. To the left of the picture, there was an upside-down body. It seemed to be falling downwards, or hanging from the ceiling. But the body wasn't visible to the father when the picture was taken. When looking at this picture, it does send a chilling sensation up the spine.
Naturally, this photo became viral among the paranormal community. It was featured in many people's list of top paranormal pictures.
But this was completely fake.
The earliest known existence of this Cooper family photo was posted online in 2009. After a few years of being circulated on the internet, it caught the attention of the 2 boys that were in the photograph. In 2015, Robert Copper, one of the boys in the picture, wrote online,
"When my older brother sent me this link, I was floored. We are the 2 boys in the picture. Well, we were back in 1959. I have many pictures like this one, but not this one. My mother had a habit of throwing away pictures that she didn't like. Eventually the ones she kept were passed along to me. What annoys me is that somebody got hold of a family photograph. The story is almost entirely fiction. Our last name is Copper, not Cooper. Does anybody know who did this?"
To verify that he was truly one of the boys, Robert submitted a different photo of him and his brother, in the same room where the falling body picture was taken.
Notice the room, candles, and drapes are the same in both pictures.
After more investigation was done, it is believed the falling body was actually a female, not falling, but doing a ballet pose. Notice the similar body pose of the falling body and a ballet dancer. The family is real, but not the ghost.
Off in the Scottish Highlands, sits a large, deep freshwater lake, Loch Ness.
I'm pretty sure most of you know the history of the Loch Ness monster, so we will not discuss its story here. After the first sighting of the creature in 1933, everyone was in a rush to obtain the first photograph of Nessie.
The Daily Mail had hired Marmaduke Wetherell to track down the monster. At the time, Wetherell was a famous big game hunter.
He traveled to Loch Ness, but was unsuccessful in finding the creature. However, he came across from tracks, giant footprints on the shore of Loch Ness.
Believing the tracks belonged to the monster, the Daily Mail told the world that they may have found the footprints of the Loch Ness monster.
Unfortunately, when researchers from the Natural History Museum examined the tracks, they determined they had been made with a dried hippo's foot.
It is not known if Wetherell concocted this footprint hoax, or if he was actually the victim of it. Regardless, the Daily Mail was furious with this news. They ridiculed and humiliated Wetherell. An angry Wetherell sought revenge on the Daily Mail. He asked his stepson, Christian Sperling, a model maker, to make him a Loch Ness monster.
Sperling made the famous creature out of plastic and wood, then placed it on top of a toy submarine.
They took the model to Loch Ness on a quiet day, and took the famous photo.
Afterward, they sank the toy sub into the lake, destroying any evidence. Since Wetherell couldn't be associated with this photograph, he gave the undeveloped film to a highly respected British surgeon, Colonel Robert Wilson, who developed the picture and sold it to the Daily Mail, thus becoming the famous surgeon's photograph. For decades, this photo was considered the best evidence for the Loch Ness monster. In 1994, Christian Sperling, before his death at the age of 90, confessed to his involvement in the creation of the now famous photo,
and the plot that involved both Marmaduke Wetherell and Robert Wilson.
Our next picture isn't actually from a photograph.
The still picture was taken from a very famous clip of Bigfoot. Most of you have probably seen the Patterson clip.
In 1967, Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin trekked into the California wilderness in search of the monster, and to make a documentary about their experience. During their exploration, they suddenly spotted a large dark creature not far ahead of them. They quickly took out their camera and recorded the most famous Bigfoot video of all time. Patterson died of cancer a few years later and went to his grave stating that the whole story was true. For decades people debated over the authenticity of this footage. Countless of researchers analyzed the creature's body and movement in the clip, but no consensus was made whether it was real or not. Then in 1998, Bob Hieronymus went public and claimed he was the person in the Bigfoot costume, saying that Patterson had offered him $1,000 to wear the suit and walk in front of the camera.
However, Bob stated he never got paid for the job.
And in 2002, Philip Morris, owner of Morris Costumes, a North Carolina-based company offering costumes, props and stage products, claimed that he made a gorilla costume that was used in the Patterson film. Wemb Town Hall was built in 1905, in Wemb, England. The interior of the building was completely destroyed by fire on November 19, 1995. The story goes that during the fire, Tony O'Hilly, a sewage farm worker, who was also an amateur photographer,
took a picture of the burning building. Nothing was suspicious while he was photographing the blaze.
However, when the pictures were developed, one eerie photo caught his attention immediately. In the picture, there was a young girl in Victorian dress, standing at the doorway of the burning building, and looking out at O'Hilly. When this was shown to the public, many of the locals in Wemb suggested the young girl was Jane Chan, a young girl whom, in 1677, was accused of starting the Great Fire of Wemb. The people of Wemb quickly and enthusiastically embraced this photo, which helped the town gain quite a bit of attention. Although there were skeptics, a lot of people saw this as being one of the spookiest and best paranormal photos taken, and caused international headlines. Many paranormal investigators visited the building to conduct investigations. But in 2010, 5 years after the death of O'Hilly, a 77-year-old Wemb resident, Brian Lear was able to debunk this now famous ghost photo of Wemb. Lear saw something familiar when he was reading through the local newspaper one day.
The newspaper was reproducing old photographs of Wemb for its Nostalgia Week. And in one of them was a picture taken in 1922 of Wemb. Eagle-eyed Lear noticed a young girl standing in the street. It was the same girl seen in the O'Hilly picture,
thus debunking the ghost girl of the burning Wemb townhouse.